I've been right lumbered here. Hello and welcome back to Dozzy's Garden Machinery Workshop, where today I'm going to attempt to repair this. This is my brother's Yard Force robotic lawnmower. Yeah, and this is how it's arrived with me. I've done nothing to it. There is a sort of charging cum fence generating piece of kit that's out in the other room at the moment, and it could stay there for the time being. Right, faults as described to me. We've got some problems with these switches, and in fact we can see one of the tactile switches there is broken. I've got a glass full of random rusty nuts and bolts, so that's nice. I've got some wheels. The other fault here is apparently one of the wheels is a bit wobbly, and yeah, my brother's had that out with there, and that's good. So yeah, 2 wheels. Nice of him to clean it before he bought it, wasn't it, really? Anyway, there we go. That obviously lives in there. What we've got going on in here. Okay. Oh Christ. Right, we can see we have had some not inconsiderable water ingress around that IC. That board has been conformally coated, but it's bad. Yeah, you can see that there. I shall zoom in post, but you can see the water has reacted there. This might be scrap. There's some sort of RFy bit up here. I suspect that's the loop detector or whatever. That can come out for the time being, because I'd imagine the sort of perimeter wire fence uses some sort of low frequency generator of some description. We've got 2 sensors there. What are they for? Some sort of ultrasonics maybe? One either side connecting there. That looks okay, other than it's filthy, but I should put that out the way for the time being. It's all this in here that really bothers me. Look, we've got corrosion over here. I am worried about this thing's viability at this point. Presumably got a battery somewhere. There's some switch on the front there. Oh, we've got a lot of weight in there as well. Where's the battery? It must be in there. Ugh. Yeah, this is not... I got grease and stuff everywhere already. Joyousness. Right, okay. I think the first thing to do is look at the state of that there. None of this is good news. I was hoping this was going to be a quick sort of switch job and a bit of a see what we can do with this motor down here, but we've got some screws missing out of there. I think I may be telephoning my brother in a minute, but what are those? Some sort of steering arrangement maybe? There's some yeah, those are sort of casters on the front here. Presumably there's some sort of blade underneath. Appears to be minus its blade, but with some grass, love him. Yeah, right, okay. Where to start? There's the battery, look. But that ingress really bothers me. Right, I think that's the first thing to do, is to get that board out and get it under the awful microscope and see what damage is done. Presumably these are FET drivers for motors, but again the level of corrosion around some of that, not looking good, is it? I wonder where the battery plugs in first off. That's our main sort of kill switch. So that plug there is the battery. Let's disconnect that before we start a fire. Okay, right. So just disconnect this lot. Yeah, they almost did a good job of the conformal coating, didn't they? You can see it's shiny here. But what happened around here? The top of the IC's been coated. So you'd expect that to be alright. But, right. Dirty, great big screw. Load of corrosion on it. I mean, presumably this thing goes about its business remotely and, you know, it's out in all weathers. So, come rain or shine, is there a rain detector? There might be a rain detector. Mightn't there? I don't know. But presumably it just goes about its business when you're out and about mowing your lawn. Regardless of the weather, or irregardless of the weather even. Is that a word? That jumps up via this connector here to this board on the front. All the same sort of screws. About 20mm long. Really coarse thread to go into the plastic body. You know what? I'm going to make my life a bit easier. Right, let's disconnect that from there. Even a corrosion round there, look. And a connector. Wicked. Just, you know. Wow. That's not good. I mean, the actual conformal coating itself doesn't look too bad, but why is that rattling? This board is rattling. Well, you can hear that. Where's the rattle coming from? Okay, let's get this out of the way and get that under the microscope. Right, let's just have a look. And so we get some focus going here. Oh my life. That is not very good, is it? You can see all the verdigris on these pins here. Just horrific. And yet you can see the top of the chip has been coated. But for some reason the water's got in, either in underneath the coating or whatever. So if you've not heard of conformal coating before, if you've got a board that's needs protecting from the elements, or even in fact if it's going into space, what you do is you conformally coat it, and it's just like a layer of acrylic varnish, or sometimes made from other stuff, but generally a layer of varnish that seals the board completely from the environment, thus preventing this. Look at the mess. And in this case, the conformal coating has failed. And the problem is, when you get corrosion like this on boards, it starts to eat away at the copper tracks, and that's where the verdigris is coming from. It's some sort of copper salt. Wow. I think I may be giving my brother some advice on this one. Let's get some IPA in there and a little brush to try and scrub it away a little and see what remains underneath. Because obviously if I waste my time putting tactile switches and repairing a motor and gearbox, it lasts 2 weeks before this rots away. What's that looking like over there? Let's just have a little look at this over here, because this looks horrible. Look at the state of that. So that, to me, looks like some form of resistor pack. Yeah, in fact, it's marked there, look, RP6. Resistor pack 6? But yeah, it's just total failure of the conformal coat. Oh. Worries me when it's gone dark like that, because it starts to sort of indicate that perhaps something's been conducting. You can imagine the conformal coat has trapped the wet under there. Yeah, you can see. I'm not even sure I'm going to attempt that. And the other problem is when you start to get, so you may have done this experiment as a kid, trying to electrolyse water to get hydrogen and oxygen out of it. Now, pure water doesn't conduct. Rainwater is not pure. And by the time it's washed over this circuit board, it's going to have picked up all manner of salts and stuff, and it starts to conduct. And then you get like an electrolytic reaction. And you can see this sort of deposit here. And you can see one end of this has gone darker than the other. I'm hoping that's coming out on the camera. Maybe not. Let me just angle the screen down. There we go. I can't shoot footage from this microscope, by the way, because it just corrupts. You can see the end of that, whatever that is, C something, C56 capacitor, little MLCC. You can see one end of it's gone black, the other end isn't, and that sort of indicates one end has been wet, maybe both ends, and you end up with an electrolytic reaction, which is either eroding or plating stuff, or, oh, have I just found our rattle? What's that? Where am I? I'm over here. It's a bit of garden or something. Is it still rattling? It's still rattling. Let's just fetch this battery out. Again, you can see in the bottom of this battery enclosure, we've had a lot going on. Well, we can, but it's this that really bothers me, because if any of that's damaged, we've got precious little hope of ever fixing it, really. Right, I want some IPA. This can is almost empty, but almost isn't completely. You can see it swimming around in there. Oh, it still looks so bad now. Just push the microscope to one side, put the light back on, and just give this. I'm wondering if I go and get a little tray and just submerge it and clean it up. Yeah, I think we'll do that. This is just IPA. Yeah, you can see as soon as the IPA dries out how much of it remains horrible in there. Continue scrubbing. Still got a lot going on under these connectors here. I just think we might need to take them out and clean again. So yeah, trouble is, you know, I want to disturb this board as little as possible, because according to my brother it still works, but we can't leave it like this because it's just going to become horribly unreliable. Yeah, the connectors are bad, but are they bad enough to warrant pulling out and getting underneath with? I mean, that one there is terrible. Just, you can see the corrosion built up around the pins. And of course, I suppose when you conformally coat the board, you don't generally conformally coat the connectors because it insulates the pins. So you have to not coat those bits, but that's no excuse for it failing around the microcontroller there. I presume it's a microcontroller. We've got crystals over here, etc. Let's get it as best we can. That's all we can hope for. Right, let's dry that off again, and then I'm just going to have a little look at that other panel, the little one. Well, it's certainly better. Yeah. Interesting, we've got 3 inductors on the front there. I wonder if they're used as the antenna for picking up the sort of perimeter wire loop. The idea is the sort of charging base has a thing where you hook in a loop around the edge of your lawn, and that's how it knows presumably where it is. So I wonder if this is sort of the antenna for it. If you were going to detect a magnetic loop, you'd want some coils of wire, and that's all an inductor is. Right, I'm going to let that dry. Dispose of this in an environmentally friendly manner. Right, well, I've got the board back under the microscope here, and you can just see here, look, this is the edge of the microprocessor here. Here are the pins. You can just see where the corrosion has eaten through the tinning on the pins and started to get at the copper. And there's a lot of that going on. You can see verdigris there where it's moved. You can see it's eroding the pins, and that's not good. This side, more or less all right. That's very good. So you get to this corner again. That one pin there, look, it's corroded very badly. We get along here and we've got all manner of corrosion going on and verdigris still. I can't clean any more of that out. I have tried. And that pin there, look, you can see the exposed copper again. Not ideal. And down here is just a right mess. There's exposed copper. You can see where this, I just tried cleaning some of this away. This is seems to be where the conformal coating, and maybe the IPA has made it soft and it's coming away, but there's so much corrosion under here. But in its defense, I have to say, all these pins do seem to be all right. Yeah, we've suffered damage. You can see again, it's bad around here. But if I put a bit of pressure on that pin, is it moving? Oh, I think it is, look. Yeah, but it's moving all the way down to the pad. So, yeah. That's probably not ideal from an electrical point of view. See if we can't just improve that a little bit. But they do all seem to be fairly solid. In fact, you can see where that joint has just cracked there. You see if I can't get in there with a bit of solder and just solder that up. Trouble is, we're trying to get through the conformal coat. Some stuff stuck on there, a bit of grass or something I expect. There we go. You see the solder move up the pin. Let's just have another little go with the tweezers and see if that's removed that little bit of movement in there. The others are all pretty solid, I have to say. Yeah, no, that's good. So we've got damage without a shadow of a doubt, and but they're all okay. Again, you can see this, the solder resist, not resist, the conformal coat just coming away there. Ah, that one's gone, look. You can just see a little bit of movement, and the leg on the chip's not moving. That's corroded through. I'm gonna have to ring my brother. Yeah, well, I've been looking around this board and it's in grim condition. There are several pins on that microprocessor there that are just disconnected microcontroller. They've just rusted through or corroded through. I was going to have a look at that resistor pack actually. Where was that? See if that had survived. Yeah, again you can see there, once that C30 horribly corroded and damaged. Where was the resistor pack? Obviously not as corroded as I thought it would come out, because I can't see it now. Ah, there it is up in the corner. That does actually look reasonable. But yeah, there's no fixing this. I've had a quick look online and it doesn't appear to be available as a spare part, and you can guarantee that's going to be north of 100 quid, I'd have thought. What a shame. Just yeah, I'm glad, to be honest, I didn't start replacing switches and trying to trace a fault back to that, because I'd have been on a hiding to nothing. But yeah, bit of a shame. I've had a word with my brother, so it's up to him. Oh, by the way, the rattle, there seems to be, I'll just show you this component here. I think that must be some sort of direction thing with a ball bearing in it, because that's what's creating the rattle. You can see it's got quite a generous coating of silicon or RTV around it. But yeah, and you can see in the way it was made, you can see the conformal coat shining there, and it looks good, but obviously the water had just managed to get underneath it and spoil our fun. Anyway, that's going to be a fail, isn't it? There's me. Won't be beaten by mere machinery, but I've been beaten by weather and the damage it's done. There you go. Thank you very much for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish. Can't win them all, but I'll see you soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now. Bye.